It's so different. Like music doesn't sound the same anymore. Like since I tried those things, I know that it's not the same thing.
So talking about the phone, headphones. We're not getting paid for it.
We're not getting paid.
Advertising it.
In fact, why let's bleep that one out. No such thing as free advertising. Unless you come with the bag.
That's it. Sponsorships. Anyway. So we're going to be talking today regarding representation. We're going to just jump straight to it. Why is it important, when we talk about representation in terms of skin color, culture, to see it, whether it's at school, it's maybe where you aspire to be, maybe even in terms of faith, belief, religion, stuff like that. So representation, why it's important, most likely we'll even do a part 2 of this. But just like any episode as well, it's a conversation that we're having. And I think this one especially want to open it up to more people to speak about too.
It's a very big topic.
Definitely. So, you're going to start by representation.
Representation. Wow. I think the first word that comes to mind when I think representation is identity, because if you don't have any identity, you have nothing to really represent. In the sense that, okay, let's talk, if it's faith, if you don't have a faith, then you can't really represent a faith, or you cannot attribute certain characteristics of a certain faith. If you're not a Christian, you can't behave like a Christian. If you're not from a family, you have no kind of responsibility, or you don't have any you don't owe anyone anything, so you have to do something. So this is what's going out to people that actually do have identities. If you've got an identity, then I mean, it's weird because representation,
there's a lot. It's like a Rubik's cube. There's a lot of sides to it.
It depends in what topic or what setting or how you're looking at it. Because the way I look to represent myself in terms of my faith is maybe different to how I represent myself in maybe a competitive background, like sport or something like that. So it's like, what angle are we tackling it from?
That's true. So, where do we begin? It's true. There's a lot actually that can be said about it. Okay, let's say
let's start from home. Let's start from family.
All right.
I feel it goes without saying, your family name is, I've been brought up. I feel like most Africans have been brought up in the setting that your family name is one of the most important things to you, in the sense that back home I talk from me being Nigerian, back home, being from a small village or something like that, everyone knew your name, everyone knew my family's surname, so everyone knows, okay, this person's from this family, or this person's from this tribe, it's where you belong. So wherever you do reflects on that, on where you're from, reflects on that surname kind of thing. So I feel like carrying that to here, still being raised up, even though being raised up in a different country, for me, my surname has always been something, if I got in trouble in school, my dad is like, me, you want me to be known for something like this?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Reputation is a big thing to them, a very big thing to them.
Yeah.
So in that setting, it's a very important thing. It's a very important thing. It's it's one of the most important things that these don't actually think about.
Yeah, it's true.
They think about their name. They think about how people think of them, in a sense, which can be a good thing and it could be a bad thing, because there's also negatives about that as well, because I think it brings up the whole conversation of them not having a certain ideal of how they want their children to be. You want your child to be a doctor, you want your child to be an engineer or something like that, and that all goes back to bragging rights based on your name, kind of thing. So I think there's pros and cons of it, because it can stop you from doing things that are not good, not right, kind of thing. But at the same time,
I think in that context, it's quite deep, because definitely in the school aspect, if a kid is misbehaving, you think, your parents didn't educate you properly, or is this how they are, you know, to a certain extent. So like in terms of family, I think it's something that, especially in this generation we live in, unlike the roots of back home, you know, whether you're from, you know, Africa, Asia, even though I'm not Asian, but I just assume like from the roots, you know, where the first generation your parents have come from, you know, that stuff is more valued, you know, in terms of like family representation and stuff, you know, unlike today, and that it plays a big part because it's responsibility, you know. It's responsibility. Like you representing, like for example, the boyfriend, like represent if your boyfriend or your husband or whatever is doing the nonsense, you know, they're representing you, even though it's not you doing it, but they are actually representing you, you know, in that way, one way or another. And I think that's something that goes over a lot of our heads, you know, most of the time.
It does, and I feel like that's all because of where we live. I feel like sometimes we lose track of identity or how we should behave in certain relationships because it's just the norm. It's just the norm to just do whatever you like. Like I feel like there's too much freedom of speech is needed, but I feel like there's too much. So like we've come to a stage where anything can pretty much go.
Anything goes.
Anything can go, and some people take that to extreme. And instead of them focusing on their own relationships, whether it's with their family, whether it's at work or actually in a relationship with like a partner or something like that, some people try to compare or relate someone else's relationship or how they move to their own. Where it's a different kind of, it's a different setting. Everyone's different, it's a different individual, different identity.
So in that context, is that, would you say, self-representation?
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing. That's why I said the first word, I said identity, because you need to have an identity for yourself. Before you can represent anything, there has to be a level of self-representation. You need to have you need to have an idea of what you can do, what's your threshold, what you won't do, what is right, what is wrong for your values. Obviously, these are still influenced by like our culture and all these kind of things, but you for yourself need to work out these things for yourself. What can you not do? What things maybe work for someone else, but doesn't work for you? So self-representation is definitely a thing. Self-identity.
We even had that episode. Identity.
We've had an episode like that, but we're in identity crisis. People don't know who they are.
It's true.
People don't know what they like.
100%. It's very true. I think they allow maybe bad representation to represent them, if that makes sense. You know, in that kind of context. You know, so obviously there's the stigma that if I can say it's kind of borderline. What's the word I'm looking for? When you judge someone by how they look like.
Oh, like stereotype.
Stereotype. Yeah. So the stereotype, you know, in terms of representation of a young black man, you know, wearing, you know, urban clothing, hoodies, etc., is that, you know, this man might be trouble, or, you know, he's not really doing anything serious, or there's just a bad energy. You know? But of course that's not true. But some people have allowed that representation of maybe a group of people to then become themselves. That makes sense.
I had an interesting conversation like related to this as well. That's why I was waiting for when race was going to come up. And what you just said, I feel like it's something that us from, ethnic minority, anyone that's an ethnic minority in this country, it's something that we need to look at ourselves. Like, we do know that racism and all these stereotypes and all of these kind of things, prejudice and all this, we know it exists. It's something that's there, but we cannot really do anything about how someone else feels. We can always try and prove ourselves to them, or try and change them, but the ultimate change lies in them, kind of thing. Now, the question is, what are we doing? Are we allowing ourselves to be held back by certain stereotypes? Well, because they say that we're trouble for looking a certain way, or dressing a certain way, does that mean that we must now then go out and carry ourselves and start doing trouble and basically living up to the stereotype, or do we break the stereotype, break the mold, kind of thing? And I feel like that's a big thing for now, because I hate when I hear, oh yeah, the system and all of this kind of stuff, because the system is there, but it's not like you're being forced to do anything.
That's true.
You can always break the mold. You can always do something. You're not living in oppression. In, well, I'm saying direct oppression. Before someone starts scaring at you. But yeah, you're not being forced to do anything. As mad and crazy, like the conditions you may be living in, like there's always been someone that still managed to come out of those conditions. There's so many examples. What John Boyega was from Peckham. You knew Damilola Taylor. He could have gone into a life of crime. They were close family. He could have gone into a life of crime. He could have said, "Well, that's not good." But no, he said, "No, I'm gonna break the mold, come out of this area, and be one of the most successful, like, British actors right now in one of the biggest films of all time."
The biggest franchise.
The biggest franchise, definitely the biggest franchise. So, I mean, what, do we live up to the stereotype, or do we break the mold?
That is very true, you know. And like, even if you dig a bit deeper, like going back to family, you know, some of us are unfortunate where we might not have good representation at home. In terms of, like, let's say parents, or family members that might not be good examples, or we might not even have, you know, both parents or either, you know, there as well. But that, if I can say, maybe lack of representation should not dictate in a negative way, you know, how we then eventually choose to represent ourselves. Because I think in our society we need to break a lot of cycles, you know, as well as, I think there will always be bad examples, but we need to see more, like, better examples of people breaking the cycle, in terms of, okay, you know, maybe my father wasn't there for me, or my father wasn't a good example, good representation of my family, but I'm gonna break the mold, you know, as you said as well, you know, and represent not just myself, but the future family and whatnot, you know, in a better way. At the same time, I think that's important. That's one.
It's very important. There's a term, I don't like using the term, because certain people that have used it sometimes.
What term is that?
New slaves. Because like certain people like Kanye West that use it sometimes, and they just, even though sometimes you speak a little bit of truth, but sometimes the context of which he uses it can be misconstrued. But I do think that there is an element of truth with that term, in that sometimes we enslave ourselves based on, like what you said, based on how maybe our parents have been conceived, or how our parents are, or like, or how our race is, area and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes we enslave ourselves. We feel like, oh yeah, we cannot make it out of this, or we can't do this, or we're trapped, kind of thing. But that's not the case.
No, it's true.
Unless you are actually in physical chains, you can still make something happen.
It's very true. It's true. And going now, let's say, to the area of representation, let's say in the workplace, which is definitely has a lot of sides, complexes and stuff to it. You know, how important would you say it is to have representation at your workplace?
I remember my dad told me something. He was like, how did he even word it? But anyway, he worded it, but what it came down to was that you never know when you might meet someone again. And this goes for even outside the workplace, but even still in the workplace. And I've even seen this myself. That's why whatever job I'm doing, whatever role, even if it's freelance, whatever it is, I try and leave an impression on you. I will work hard. I work smart, actually. Sometimes. I work smart, and whoever it is, they'll always have that what do you call it? When my name is mentioned, you know that, okay, yeah, this is a hardworking guy. No matter what the role is, like I can literally, any reference, anyone that I've worked under or anything like that, I could get a reference of them, and they will be able to say that to me. And that just goes back to what my dad told me, that you never know when you might meet these people again. So once you make that impression, you don't know how long, where that's gonna take you. There's been so many examples of like, okay, someone like, I don't know, maybe they worked under someone or something like that. You might even be a manager. So there's been certain managers and stuff like that, yeah, that have just been, they're just so bad, like they just want to just, I don't know, they're just so grumpy, they're just out to get you, yeah. And I've heard so many stories of like, okay, the tables are now turned. Where now the employee is now on top of the manager. And how do you think that employee is now going to treat you? So, I mean, the way you represent yourself in the workplace is going to definitely take you. It's going to...
It's in life.
Yeah, in life in general, but especially in the workplace because you have to work to eat.
Yeah.
So if you create like a bad representation of yourself, like you're not going anywhere. Especially the world is set up now. Everything's about references.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's about references.
About who you
There's
know.
a lot of jobs.
What people say about you.
What people say about you. There's a lot of jobs here that if you don't even have a LinkedIn profile, they'll be looking at you like, who is this guy? Is he a real person?
No, it's true.
There's a lot of jobs that actually think. I've heard guys talk about that.
Yeah, even like in terms of the context of like a business or brand, like if you don't have a website, you know, then you're like having a website in terms of representation shows more how serious you know you are with what you're doing. You know, if you haven't put certain things in place, then that's not a good representation of yourself at the same time.
I even brought up the LinkedIn one because like a lot of these employers, they look at it to see like the amount of connections that you have, kind of thing, and connections all to do with how you've interacted with someone, like how you know that person, kind of thing. So if you've come across like a prick, then I'm not connected with you.
Yeah,
like, why would I employ somebody like that?
Yeah, it's very true. And how about like the representation, as in like, because when I was working in the finance sector, I think a lot of companies do anyway, but at UBS they had a thing. Is it the Bain Group? Yeah. Because obviously, if you're working in central London, it's like no, you know, in terms of ethnic minorities, there isn't a lot of representation, especially in senior roles like executive directors, senior directors, you know, chief executives, so on and so forth. How do you kind of tackle that? You know, is it needed to have representation? You know, to what extent and stuff?
Definitely, because sometimes, like, your personal voice can't be heard. So sometimes you actually need someone or a group of people to help voice your opinions. Which is why there's all of these, what do they even call them in the workplace? Like all these, what's the word again? They're not societies, but
groups. I know you're talking about.
That basically voice opinions. So let's say like the teachers, like unions. That's the word. Unions. That's the word. Yeah. That's why they have all these unions, because you as an individual sometimes can't voice your opinion to an executive or to people, a tribunal, people that can actually make the changes. So you need to be represented. That's the whole reason why we have lawyers.
It's true.
We can always argue our own opinion or argue our own voice, our own thing, but I mean some people are well suited to actually argue this, argue your points for you. So representation, there's so many avenues, so many ways that you can look at it.
Yeah. I think in terms of like the workplace or like maybe where you want to aspire to be, I think it's important, but at the same time, it's not seeing it shouldn't be an obstacle, you know. But I think for me at one point, and for a lot of people, it is an obstacle where you don't see someone who looks like you, you know, doing something. Although obviously, you know, seeing someone who looks like you being successful, etc., is a booster, but it shouldn't be like the crutch that you lean on, where if you don't see it, then you just put your head down. Because some people, they will go into not just work, but life and say, all right, you know what, because I'm a certain skin color, or because I come from a certain area, I'm not gonna amount to maybe what I want to amount to, because where I come from, whether that's country or the area I come from in London or the UK, or anywhere in the world, no one is representing my area like this. So I'm gonna put my head down, and that's basically it.
That's true. That's the thing. I know, like sometimes I feel like there actually are some things in place that can hold you back. There definitely is. Like, especially being an ethnic minority, there's definitely stuff like that are in place to sometimes hold you back. But there's always an example of someone that's made it through. There's always at least one example, even if it's just one person.
I think personally that sometimes you need to turn a blind eye to representation.
That's what I'm saying. You actually do.
You need to turn a blind eye to it.
You actually do, because pretty much
if you're looking so hard for it everywhere, you don't find it.
Because everyone, no matter where you're from, whatever your background is, everyone can actually kind of say that they may be misrepresented in a bad way and use that as a setback. Even if you're from the most well-off, rich family, you could say, oh yeah, people look down on me because I'm rich, or because my parents have done this to get their money, or because I'm rich, people might think I'm stuck up and all this kind of thing.
Exactly.
Everyone can argue a point, kind of thing, but the people that actually succeed are the people that sometimes just turn a blind eye to the factors that could potentially hold them back.
So would you say that it's important, and let's say you're going into your dream job.
Yeah.
How important is it for you to see someone like you in? I don't know if anyone's watched the show Everybody Hates Chris.
Yeah.
But in that show, Chris is the only black kid in the whole of the high school against Corleone, against side. It's crazy. He's the only. I'm not sure if it's based on true story. Is it?
It's meant to be based on what's his name on
Chris Rock's life.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's actually true. I don't know.
At least that part. I don't know if that part.
I don't know if that part is true.
But in that show, he goes to a school where he's the only black, in the whole entire school.
Yeah.
And it's hard for him because he doesn't see anyone that's like him. Not even like in the position of like a teacher in that context.
Yeah.
There's no one like him. So how important would you say, put yourself in the shoes of, okay, in this context of Chris, or let's say you're doing your dream job.
I'm not gonna lie, it'll make me feel comfortable if I have people around me that are like me.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in a setting where I don't feel like I can relate to anyone, you definitely feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I do feel like it is kind of important. Well, no, it is important, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes you just have to just
all context, or just
it.
the racial, or just like all context.
Not even only racial, because let's say I was down in, I don't know, what's a remote place like. Let's say I was in like, I don't know, in Cornwall or something like that. Let's even say there was a couple black people there. They are not the same they're not from the same environment as I am. They're not from inner city London. Like we won't be able to relate in the same way.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
True.
So it's not even just about the colour. Sometimes you get comfort from being around people that you can relate to. But at the same time, should that hold me back? If I've got a dream job now, or is a means to me getting a dream job, do I now say, because I do not have the people around me that I can relate to or be cool with, am I not going to pursue this job, or am I not going to take on this role? Me personally, no. I'll still do what
what would you say is important?
It is important, but I don't feel like it's that important. If you've got an end goal kind of thing, I feel like that should be the most important thing to you. Everything there's a means to an end. That's how I would personally look at it. For some people, it might be important. But for me personally, I perceive my end goal as being the ultimate thing.
I can see why some people might see that as not important. Obviously, in a negative way that I mentioned, where like some people just like would go into an environment like that, just put their head down and say, oh, you know what, there's no one here like me. Whether that is in terms of race or like where I come from, what I'm into. So that's just basically it. But then some people also use it in a positive way, like, okay, there might not be anyone like me that's represent in terms of representation. But maybe someone who comes in after me can see me as that representation, as that example or whatnot. So I think that, similar to you, I think it's important to an extent, but I don't know. I'm thinking to lean on the side of it not being that important, to an extent, because it gives a crutch for us. I think it does. I'm leaning more on the other side. It's more of a crutch. Even though no, it's true. It's inspiring, but at the same time, that means if you're leaning more on, I personally think that if you're leaning more of it's very, 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 very important, then that means that if it's taken away from you, then to find your feet is going to be a bit.
I understand that. I heard that point. I definitely heard that point. Because it could become a detrimental effect as well. In terms of your work rate, you'll lose focus as well. If you're placed, like two ways to look at it, if you're placed in an environment where you've got all your people around you, people from a similar background, that might mean you might slack off. Like you might not work as hard, kind of thing. And then also, if you also look like, okay, because someone is not there, they don't have people like me in a certain place, so I'm not going to take this role. That's also detrimental effects as well, because you might not know what you're missing out on because you just...
that's true. That is very... I was even thinking about that as you were saying about like you're also taking away the opportunity to learn.
Exactly.
You know, adapting in another environment to a different surrounding, different people.
Yeah.
You know, to that extent. But some people just like...
And I think even in the big picture, like, I don't think you can always even be in your comfort zone anyway. Like, well, if you're ambitious, I'm saying, like, if you just want to stay, like, doing whatever it is, which is calm, like, just a simple job or whatever, that's fine. You'll become your comfort zone because you're just used to doing the same thing. But if you're looking to develop and grow and move up to different levels, you meet different people from different backgrounds, people that you wouldn't normally interact with, but you're gonna have to. So, I mean, sometimes not being in comfort zone or not being around you got people, it actually works out.
It
actually elevates.
Oh, it's true. It's very true. So then, do you think, especially because music is such a powerful tool, and a lot of rappers, singers, or whatnot, artists have a lot of fans that feel that they represent them. So when they say, for example, recite things in their lyrics where they're saying, like, you know what, there's not enough people like this, but in a negative connotation, you know, is that something that should just be stopped, or they should be speaking about more, you think, in a positive light?
You know, I don't even talk about like artists and what they speak about because it's just we just end up going back and forth. But what cannot be denied is the power of music. Like, music is such a powerful thing, and I feel like a lot of times it's definitely underestimated. There's a lot of things that me personally, there's been a lot of times that I've kind of had like maybe a realization when I'm listening to a certain piece of music or something like that. I'm like, oh wow.
Same, definitely.
So if that's just that, now imagine now an artist is just saying like stuff like that actually edifies and motivates and just pushes you, and they're from the same background as you, and you know their journey, you know their struggle and how they've made it there. There's no way that won't impact your life. There's no way it won't impact your life. It will do.
Yeah, definitely. So let's throw a name in the hat then. The late and great, if I should say, Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
That's
an example. That's a very good example because that was someone that was living a life of crime. That was someone that he was there. He was in the deep end. Like, he had ops, and to up until his death, like, some of the stuff that that happened in his past life was still held weight because it's a big thing there. Because that's some people's, that's all their reality, like gang culture and gang life. That's their whole reality. That's what they've grown up with. No matter what age, they will still hold that thing down. But for him, it was just tragic that it kind of caught up to him. But you could see the changes that he was making in his community and environment, which is why like so many people were inspired. So many people would change their life just based on his story. Like someone that went from that, from being a menace to society to actually uplifting the society.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why so many people treasure, and like even the stuff that he started like mentioning about, like talking about, like he also referenced sometimes like his past life, but it wasn't like glorifying it. It was more to show people the realness of what actually happened.
You don't think he's ever?
I don't think no. I don't feel like he was
Maybe not blatantly.
No, I don't think he was
I have to
glorifying
listen to
it.
his album again.
I
At
don't
all. Not
think
at
he
all.
was glorifying it.
Anything that he did,
No.
or the people that he probably still knows.
No, I don't think he was glorifying it.
Okay.
I don't think so. I feel like he was just basically creating a real picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, there's no way that he could be glorifying it and still be doing the crazy stuff that he was doing. Like, well, no. Let me rephrase something there. There's no way that he could be glorifying the crime that or whatever that he was doing or doing in a past life, and yet still be trying to do a lot for the community.
Okay, let's throw another thing in the hat. Jay-Z. There was a line I think in one of the songs that says, I sold cocaine and I got away. I think it was on Meek's album.
Yeah.
The one with Rick Ross. Was free.
Yeah, was free.
Yeah. You decided to line something like that, basically, you can't catch me in that sense.
Yeah.
So.
Number one, we have to also like deep the genre of music.
Okay, fair enough.
It's always gonna be. They're always gonna talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but then again, you have to also look at the interpretation as well. Like, because like someone might interpret that bar as like that might be motivation for them to go and shop. But then another person might be like, oh yeah, this guy came from struggles and he's turned his life around to now be this thing. Which is why I say music is very powerful, man.
So perception affects
perception over
representation.
Oof.
Perception affects
representation.
Yeah,
definitely.
Wow.
Definitely.
That's actually true.
I feel like that even sums up everything.
That is actually true. That is wow. Perception affects.
Deep that. Everyone that's listening, deep it. It definitely does.
It does actually change the way you look at things.
Yeah.
That's why I think a lot of people, anyway, this is another episode for another time of like Bands Rule, It's coming out soon, don't worry. But especially in terms of, for now I'm not going to speak. Actually, I will speak. I need to be unscripted.
Speak.
I don't believe in drill. I think it's related too much violence, etc. So some people believe though that there's some content out there, drill content, that can be used for positivity in a positive way. Yeah. And so I guess for them or some people, their perception is that the representation could be different, even though probably up until now it's predominantly negative.
Yeah.
In a way.
Because it goes back to what is drill? Is it the genre or is it what they talk about?
Yeah.
Is it like the content of the music, or is it actually style of music? Is it the beat and all the tempo and all that kind of stuff? You have to have that definition, because if it is like the content, then it incites violence because it's talking about violence, it's talking about negative thing. But then if it's just a style of music, a genre of music, then it could possibly be it could be a positive thing in the sense that if someone was putting on a drill beat talking about positive stuff, then is that harmful?
I don't know. It makes me think of like with certain representations, is it possible that something can be represented so bad that there's no redemption for it? Where it can't be represented anymore in a good light.
Ooh.
But then it's kind of like a double standard, because obviously most people might believe that people can change.
Yeah.
So can they, change their own representation? That context.
I feel like people can change, but there is a limit. some things are just
Yeah.
too far gone
Mm-hmm.
that there isn't even there's no redemption. Like
Yeah.
you can't change it. It's bad.
Mhm.
It's evil.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a line. It's a tangent. Like you have the two polar ends, and then everything in between is just a buffer zone. You don't know. Like I don't know. It's down to an individual to make their decisions.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a good example of where something's been represented so badly that
like can't
it's
be
far gone.
gone.
Maybe not just musically. I don't know, but I can't think of a film franchise, but there are some film franchises where they've tried to make it work again and again.
But
it's not working.
Not it.
It can't be resuscitated anymore. You know.
Yeah,
It's probably
films is a good example. I think that's one. I'm trying to think of a film that that fits in that criteria. Yeah, there's a couple of bad films that.
Childhood classic, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
They need to stop it. Don't make any more films because it always just looks rubbish. The storylines are just like.
Even though there's potential.
I don't know. There's a lot of potential. But they will never get a high rating at 5
They need to take advice from. I don't know if you've seen what they did with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. Anyhow they put out that original one, the way that Sonic looked.
I'll be surprised if it even went by the 1 million mark, you know, in terms of like gross.
I wouldn't have watched it.
No way.
I wouldn't have watched it. You couldn't have forced me to watch it. You couldn't. Because that thing, it looked like a joke. Nah.
Or even like, for example, okay, we're talking content of movies like Justice League. You know, when there's bad representation, it's hard to bring it all the way back for those who like in comic books. And just like, even like a company, if one employee represents the whole, you know, organization in a bad way, you will need a lot of convincing to be convinced that, you know.
But then at the same time they say like, any PR is any good publicity. No, wait, what? All publicity is good publicity. You have people that can turn these things around, man. What's the name of that woman?
Sometimes it's not worth it.
Olivia. You have people like that, man.
Yeah, but I don't think it's worth it sometimes. I don't think it's worth it. Especially like, because, I think in special circumstances, you know, you can kind of redeem the bad representation, you know, of a group of people that's attached to a name or something like that. But I think in most cases, it's far gone. It's far gone, you know, and I guess people might have their own opinion, but hey, you know what? We have our own opinion too. That's why it's called Unscripted. So we're gonna leave it there. I believe there's gonna be a part 2 to this. Representation is a big topic.
It's a big topic.
A lot to say.
It's endless.
100%. So that's it. Until next time, guys. Peace out.